I am so excited to introduce you to Amanda Blake Soul, creator of Soul Mama blog, author, editor, publisher, especially of the incredible magazine TapRoot. So welcome, Amanda.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Holly.
I'm thrilled that you're here. So I've known Amanda for a long time, not personally, but professionally through her magazine. I was privileged and honored to write a number of articles for TapRoot, especially as your magazine started up. And I have,
Very first issue, I believe,
I
right?
think
I think you were
so,
the very
yeah.
first issue. Yeah.
So I'm hoping that this will capture me as I speak too. I've got it on speaker view and I'm hoping it will record. Anyway, I'm holding up a whole bunch
Yay.
of paper copies of this incredible magazine because it's just gorgeous. It's one of those things that I like to sit in the winter time, especially, and just read through. The pages are gorgeous. The photographs are compelling and colorful. And it's one of those things that's really addictive in the winter, just to sit and get it in your eyes and in your
Mhm.
mind, especially. But so Amanda, I wanted to share with my audience what you're doing and where you've come from and what your experience has been. So I guess my first question is, how did you start out, and where are you
Sure. Yeah. Thank you. And thanks for those kind words. I miss having you in the pages. We need to remedy that very soon.
at?
So a little bit further back to the impetus of the magazine. I was a pretty young mom. I was 22 when my first 23 when my first son was born, and was lucky enough to be at home with him, and then 4 children that followed over the course of the next 10 years. And I started blogging at the sort of perfect time of the dinosaur of a word now, right? Blogging, but but it was just the right time where like mommy bloggers and lots of art and creativity was happening, and it became like a really beautiful outlet for me to connect with other people at the end of sort of a day of, the wonderful parts of young childhood, but also felt like all I was doing was like making peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and like doing more laundry and like changing diapers and washing the diapers. It kind of was a beautiful blur. But being able to share at the end of the day, like a little knitting project that I snuck in, or like a trip to the beach that we made, just became a really great, important creative outlet for me. And then it conveyed us, sort of made a great base and way to connect with other people. So I sort of did that just out of pure like joy and connection, and stumbled into kind of a career out of it. I was approached about sort of sponsorship was a new advertising was a new sort of thing on the blogs, and kind of created a model that fit for me and my values to make sure that I was aligned with whatever I was promoting. And so that was an amazing sort of support for our family for a while. And from that, then went on to write 4 books now, but the first one in 2007 was Roost Books, The Creative Family. And I loved that process. And they were very fast. They came as fast as my children. It was one right after another. Each child, I think, is like their book matches up with their year. And at the end of it, so I've been blogging for a really long time. My kids were starting to get older. This is around like 2010 and 11. And I was really looking for a little bit more like real connection with people, and less of like the solitary work of writing by myself. And I was really interested in sort of curating and collaborating and community building and bringing in other voices. So from that, the magazine sort of was born, which was 13 years ago. Go ahead.
So where are you at now? What have you got? What are you working on? What are your projects?
Yeah, so it's certainly evolved in 13 years. It's gone from me at home working by myself, and to we now have a decent team, a pretty big team, and we have an office in Portland, Maine. Our warehouse is here. Now we do all of our own shipping. We also have a storefront, a bricks and mortar market full of sustainable home goods, and a lot of the things that sort of align with the work that we're doing and the writing that's within the pages. We moved to 6 issues a year, which was really exciting. COVID was a tricky time for us for a minute. And that ended up being really a beautiful blessing in a way that people were looking for, like, oh, I'm making I want to learn how to make sourdough, or I'm going to raise chickens. And so that was kind of, we do that. That's what we do. So for all of the darkness of that time, it was a really beautiful connection and like growth of knowledge about all of those things that matter deeply to us. Right now, just trying to keep a healthy team, a healthy magazine, sort of, figuring out all of the sort of financial end of things. And we've been ad free from the start, which feels really important to me. But that doesn't mean we're entirely subscriber supported. So a lot of our time is spent on renewal efforts and marketing.
And if you're listening to this, I highly encourage you to subscribe. It's very worth it.
Thanks. Thank you. So yeah, I mean, I would like to continue this work as long as, it still makes me happy. We're on issue 58 right now. It's about to go to the print this week, which is wild. Yeah, the baby that I started this magazine with in my arms, was in middle school.
Wow.
So yeah, it continues to be a great source of joy and creativity for me.
So Amanda, let me ask you about your team. You've mentioned that your team has grown over the years. How many people work with you? Are they full-time employees? Are they virtual assistants? Are they university interns? Like, how did you build the team around you to support your vision?
Yeah, good question. So initially, it was a lot of remote and contract work for the design and editorial assistance. We've shifted to a little bit more of a permanent team. We have in-house here in Portland, we have myself, our art director and editorial assistant, Rachel McDonald, who's a dream. And then we have my entire family. So somehow along the way, I have, my family, all three of my sisters now work for TapRoot.
Oh, that's great.
And so does my father, which is really wild. So we have fulfillment and shipping here, and then the market, and then another sister of mine does our marketing and advertising efforts. In terms of like design and proofreading, that's sort of subcontracted out, but we've been working with the same people since the beginning. So whether they're in the office or full-time or not, they're an essential part of the team and like family as well. Our writers are all contractors, so they write per piece, and the artists and photographers as well.
That idea of teamwork, about people coming together, working together, especially over a long period of time. How do you find, especially for creative entrepreneurs, crafty types, independent types, women in particular, how does that lead towards satisfaction and fulfillment, that kind of teamwork or that connection?
Great question. I think that I've always said that I want all of us on the team to be able to live the life that's reflected in the pages. And so that means when it's deadline time and we work really hard, but it's not brain surgery and nobody's going to be hurt if we're 2 days late, right? Like we're a lot of moms on the team, a lot of flexibility, and like life happens around the work that we're doing. And that's really important to me, that we have that flexibility and are able to say, listen, this is like work and life is a balance that we really honor and value here. There's often, for a little stretch there, someone had a baby last year and the baby was here and just passed around from from time to time. So through that, I think it's a close-knit environment. I think it's almost entirely women, for sure. Kind of that bond and connection is really strong. And we're able to kind of grow and live alongside each other as well through the years. So yeah,
that's awesome, because I've always really appreciated the idea of building a business around women's needs in particular, whether it's maternity or, caring for children or caring for your parents as they get older. A lot of that falls to women, and there's so many workplaces that aren't flexible or built around that. And I think making that a central pillar of a business really leads to a successful outcome.
I think it also allows like room for creativity, right? That when there's less sort of the pressure of these deadlines and your life doesn't, if there's a doctor's appointment for your children and that's not really encouraged, or, can just really be soul crushing, I think, and difficult to stay creative and fresh and engaged and willing to put extra time in when the time is necessary.
Building on that, every single one of your beautiful magazines is built around a theme. Water, folk, retreat, gather, soil, some incredible topics that you weave these, this information around. Thinking about you as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, and working with other women entrepreneurs, are there certain themes that you come across that women entrepreneurs struggle with or find as a challenge, or that you particularly want to, acknowledge as this is the key thing? If you move past it, then that's something that will move your business forward?
Yeah, I think that one thing I've recently really in the past few years embraced and sorted out through lots of lessons is trusting my gut, which doesn't make sense in a boardroom meeting or it's hard to explain when I'm at the bank or but I really have kind of followed my gut most of the way, and it's led to wonderful things. When I look back at sort of mistakes or missteps that I made along the way, it was because I took other people's advice, assuming that they knew better than I did. And that was a mistake. My gut told me not to do this or that, and it didn't work out. So, whatever you want to call it, I just think faith and really like listening to, is this the path? Is this aligned with my values? This is what and not being afraid to sort of say that and speak up. So that's been a really interesting evolution.
Amanda, thank you so much. It's been so lovely talking with you, and I want to get back together with you. I want to have a more extended comprehensive interview at some point, but if you could just let folks know how to reach you, how to follow you, what to do next, that would be great.
Sure. So TapRoot Magazine is in print, but the website is taprootmag.com. We're on Instagram and Facebook and all of those places. We're also always looking for other creative entrepreneur artists, makers, writers. So please check out TapRoot Magazine's website. There's a submission section about submitting. We also have the market, so always looking for creative arts and goods to carry. So love to support and uplift other makers, doers, and dreamers.
Thank you so much. I think this is really wonderful for our audience of creative women entrepreneurs, and I look forward to seeing you again.
You too. Thank you so much, Holly.
Thanks, Amanda.